What's your opinion on bullying?
It sucks.
I think it's bad.
How does it make you feel?
It makes me feel sad.
It's bad.
My opinion on bullying is that it destroys people slowly from the inside, from them losing friends, from people talking about it, from them getting trash talked about. So it pushes people past the limit to where they don't want to live no more, and they see no reason to be here if they're going to be keep treated like trash.
My opinion on bullying is something that we don't should tolerate in schools as well as out in the communities, and that it's something that is harmful to the children who are being bullied.
Well, it really hurts people, and that it can stay with you for a long time. The emotional side of it is really damaging, and even more so than the physical.
I don't like bullying. I believe everybody and everything should be treated equal.
My thoughts on bullying. Bullying, as the Lakota say, is wa'osh agya, to put down. And we say in Lakota that wa'osh agya umpile wo Lakota wa'chun hechashni. To bully is not the Lakota way at all.
Bullying takes on all kinds of forms. It's not just students, it's everyone. Usually bullying occurs when people feel threatened, or people have some sort of jealousy, or people just don't like somebody for some reason. So they try to make them feel less worth, that the person that's doing the bullying wants to feel like they're better than the person they're bullying.
What's your opinion on bullying?
Well, right now it's kind of confusing. I just want it to stop.
I think that it does need to change, and the bullies actually probably need help, and that's the reason why they're doing it.
Bullying has a lot of meanings to it, so you can't define bullying in one sentence.
And so it only makes sense that the Lakota people lived in such a way that they could see each other and see each other's behavior. And all of that coming together, they made the social laws for the Lakota people. When one person was seen being overly aggressive, abusive, bullying, the other peers of that man, woman, adolescent would come to him and address his behavior as unacceptable. And nobody wanted the embarrassment of being singled out for their behavior. So everybody tried very hard to live in a manner that was good for everybody else. Now, when you take away a certain behavior from a society, you have to replace it with a certain other behavior. And in this case, let's talk about taking away the bullying, the being loud, and the being pushy and aggressive, that sort of behavior. If we take that away, what do we want to put in there? We want to replace it with behaviors of respect, behaviors of vo'achwala, the peace, the behaviors of kindness and compassion.
it's not a good thing and you should knock it off.
Bullying is one of the worst things that has happened, but it's been going on since the start of time. It used to be referred to as picking on someone, and now it's, with the use of the internet, social media, and other factors, it's worse. So you have more interaction with the kids and negative forces.
Honestly, it's really stupid. Some kids need to stand up for themselves and say something.
I got like bullied. I don't know, I don't like seeing other people get bullied, and I don't know, I just want to see it stop. It's mean because like it's not cool for kids to pick on other kids just because like they're jealous of them or something.
So let's talk about a few ways that we can use our Lakota values and laws, the wopre, to be able to walk in the Lakota way of life. The Lakota wo chunki wopre ki lena o mani biksto. And the first one is wocheke. We need to make prayers to the higher power so that we may better ourselves each day that we live. We need to nurture our spirituality. Nanda wa ohola, the respect for the higher power, the respect for your own self, the respect for your family, and the respect for the community and all other forms of life. That's wa ohola. The wa shila, caring and compassion that we have for one another. The concern and the caring that we have for one another is a good way, especially for the family, elders, the young ones, those in need, those in mourning, the orphans, the sick, and those working for the people. We want to always remember them and have compassion and concern for all life, above, below, ourselves. Nadawoichake, honesty and truth within yourself, within your family, with the higher power, in all others, with a sincere truth and honesty. Walking in that way will set you so free. It will allow you to be very, very happy. Now the wawokia, generosity and caring, helping without expecting anything in return, always giving from the heart. And the wawokia can come in many different forms. It can come in just spending time with someone. It can come in giving the last of what you have to someone. The woachwala, humility and peace. We are never, never better than that of anyone. We all have a spirit. We are all equal. If we live in humility and peace, we allow ourselves so much more to give to others. And when you're giving to others, that comes back to you as well. And you're happier with yourself. You have no need to bully anyone if you're living in peace and happiness yourself. The woksape, that is the wisdom. The wisdom, when we practice with knowledge, comes wisdom. So we can be taught something and we can learn it intellectually. But the time that we practice it, that gives us the true wisdom. So if we acknowledge bad behaviors within a society, we're going to have to learn how to replace bad behaviors with good behaviors within that society. And the elders will know. They will know what is good for our communities. They will know what is good within their tiwahes, within their families, because they have the knowledge, they have the woksape, the wisdom, and the experience to know what is good for our communities.
I think bullying is a big issue. I see a lot of cyberbullying, and with cyberbullying, it escalates to the school where kids are starting to get into fights because
just there's so much that kids have to, deal with these days. It's a lot more complex than it ever was before.
And do you think bullying is being rewarded by social media or by technology? I guess are kids are they seeking an immediate reaction? Is that why bullying is happening?
No, there's just more avenues toward bullying,
Well, I think it shouldn't happen because all of us are the same. We just act differently.
How does bullying make you feel?
It kind of pisses me off, like no one deserves it. I mean, just because you get bullied at home doesn't mean you should do it.
I think bullying is wrong, but it's definitely a two-way street, that sometimes people say that they've been bullied, but then they also turn around and do the same thing back to somebody else.
I don't like bullying.
How does bullying make you feel?
Angry.
It's pretty bad.
How does bullying make you feel?
It makes me feel like disrespected or maybe hurt sometimes.
I hate bullying.
How does bullying make you feel?
It makes me feel very distraught because a lot of people go through it and they can't do anything about it sometimes.
Well, the one thing that I see is that with the social media, everybody's on their phones and people are not interacting with people. 4 people in a family, my own, were sitting in 4 different rooms, inboxing each other. We thought it was funny, but we had to laugh at the fact that we weren't talking. We weren't interacting spirit to spirit. You lose the spirit's interaction as well as the personal physical interaction. When I look into a person's eyes and I get that energy, and I hopefully give them back a good energy as well. That means a lot. You don't get that with social media. And so it's so much colder to use social media to interact. So the human aspect just does not exist in the social media.
Yeah, I noticed that in the last 20 years, going to a coffee house, maybe in the city or a restaurant or something, instead of the usual conversations that you would have over the table, everybody at the table is done looking down and punching buttons on their cell phone or something like that. See how maybe
Yeah, that is the only thing that concerns me. Other than that, I appreciate all the gadgets, as they're called. I can sure appreciate it, anything. I use it. I know how to use a GPS system and all kinds of other cool stuff. But you know what? the thing that worries me is that there is no more personal interaction, and that's missing. They say that leave a person to themselves, all to themselves, and nobody to communicate with, and that person will probably exist for maybe a year, maybe 2.
Like the Grinch or something. Yeah. So we're gradually losing maybe our humanity.
Yeah.
I was a bully back in grade school, in elementary school. I bullied so many girls. I bullied because I was bullied myself. I just wanted to bully others to see, put them in the pressure that I was, make them feel the pain that I was in.
How do you think we could? How do you feel about being bullied?
Getting bullied? Getting bullied is terrible, dude. When I was bullied, I just wanted to commit suicide. I just wanted to stay in my house, didn't want to come out or anything. I think it's sad because, like, once you get bullied, you don't have any friends. Some of your friends that you call friends bully you too, and like basically you have no one. So like that makes you feel like a loner at school or wherever you go to, and you don't have anyone to talk to.
Have you seen people get bullied?
Have I ever seen people get bullied? Yes, I've seen my friends get bullied, but I never told anyone they got bullied because I probably get bullied myself. I was seemed like the one who was snitching a bully out, so I haven't really told anyone that got bullied before.
Talk to that bully like after the incident, you
No,
know?
because I was scared myself, knowing that I probably get beat up or anything.
I think bullying isn't really a decision. Some of us just choose to do it. But I think that it shouldn't happen because, you know, some of us have our own problems and bullies just make it worse.
How does bullying make you feel?
It breaks my heart because I was like, you know, like some of my family members were bullied and like it just breaks my heart to see someone down because they were bullied.
Well, bullying, I believe, does lead to suicide in some situations. If a person is not feeling good about themselves already, but somebody's putting out on social media for the whole world to see this and that about a person, yes, their self-esteem is going to go way down from where it was down already. It might go way down to the point of no return. And in that case, they might ultimately complete the suicide if they're attempting. I don't know that much about suicide itself, except that from what I know from my own elders, that your life is not your own. You came here to a family. You came here to a tioshpaye. Your spirit came to connect with those you call family, your tiwahe. And when one leaves from a family, it leaves a void. We were all put here for a purpose. Sometimes we don't know that purpose until later in life, and sometimes we don't recognize it. But we are all nonetheless here for a purpose, and our life was not self-given. Our life was a gift to us. And it was never our gift to take back. And I've been told by the elders that whether you think so or not, you are being selfish by taking your own life. And I've grown to believe that. I've grown to actually experience it.
So I think, obviously, I think bullying is bad. I bet pretty much everyone says that. I think it can be like a real issue. I remember like when I I was a teacher, I would hear like students bullying each other, and often I'd hear people like bullying each other about like race or gender, like things that I would hear students say is like, oh, like boys can't be cheerleaders, or they'd say things like that's gay, you know, which I think is hurtful, like for the person who's like having that directed at them, but it's also hurtful for like anybody who's gay, because now gay is like a bad thing, which it's not. And I think like it's like weird that people like bully each other about race, but I remember like students saying like white boy and like saying that as like an insult, or you know, saying stuff like that. And yeah, I know like that's like super hurtful. And when we think about like kids like needing to come to school and like feeling safe and feeling affirmed in who they are, I think bullying is a real issue.
How does it make you feel?
I think it makes me feel. So it's been a while since I've been bullied because I'm like out of school, I guess. Not that adults can't bully each other. Adults do sometimes bully each other.
Sure.
But like thinking especially about like what it means for our young people. It makes me feel pretty bad. Like I feel for people who are bullied. I also sometimes see the people who are doing the bullying as like having been bullied before too.
It takes a group. It takes all of us to be on the same level to stop bullying. We can't do it just one person or one certain group. Everybody all has to be on the same page.
Advice would be to continue the bullying prevention program that you have in place, to educate the students, and to do all the work that you've been doing before to post those posters and whatever that's necessary to prevent that from happening in the schools.
We have to always, I guess, be wary of the degree of bullying and the situations, again, being, you know, each unique.
Right. So there's no real exact science or
Yeah.
formula.
And, you know, as far as getting a person to a bully, you know, to single out a person as a bully is in effect bullying themselves. I think. So, in order to get a bully to stop that behavior, you might want to say, this is breaking the rule. This is what you're going to do. You're going to make it right. And I think that's the part that we need to instill, is that making things right. Even with the bullies, you know, so that bully has to go back and say, hey, I am really sorry. And actually mean it, and actually be able to look who he bullied in the face, in the eyes, and say, I'm sorry. You know, and that alone, that interaction of, you know, not only the physical, but the spirit, you know, his spirit. I'm sure nobody wants to bully. Nobody wants to be recognized as the bully. But people don't recognize that your behaviors are bullying behaviors. And that makes you a bully.
Right.
Yeah.
Some people will say, you know, maybe you should stand up to the bully or something like that. You know, I personally had that experience myself, you know, where I stood up to the bully. But what I didn't realize is there was a shift in personalities. I became the bully. I didn't know that. But
yeah. That could happen too. Now, that's where balance comes in. Of you want to stand up for yourself, but you don't want to become the bully. So you want to come to that balance, that fine line, and be what we call not aggressive, but assertive. To stand up and recognize it yourself. That look at your behavior. You're doing this, but not go crossing over that balance to become the bully and say, you're a bully, I'm tired of you, you know.
Right.
Yeah, so there's that fine line that we always have to walk, that we call a balance, the balance. And if we remember that, those of us that have been given a feather, we always have to remind ourselves every day that there's the balance to life, and it's right down the middle of that feather. And we must always remember that. To assert ourselves, to be warrior enough to protect those behind us, that's good. But to cross over and actually, become that overly aggressive person, not assertive, but overly aggressive, you've crossed that line.
Right.
Yeah.
I think that's the lesson that I missed.
And
I kind of see myself as the bullying hunter,
and a lot of people forget too, a lot of our Lakota people forget that the women, they wore wase red down the middle of their part. And the men too. They always, they didn't wear the wase, but they always parted right down the middle. And that was to always remind ourselves that we're actually able to make that choice between that balance of right and wrong, good and bad, light, dark, whatever it is, whatever it happens to be.
In the boarding school, bullying, we either succumb to the bully guy or you fought back. And we found out if you fought back, regardless if you got beat up or not, the guy tended not to bully you anymore because they to me, bullies like easy guys, people that don't fight back because there's no threat. But I found out in boarding school that if you fought back, and eventually the guy didn't like picking on you because he realizes you fight back and he can get hurt or whatever. So I found out that was my way of dealing with bullying. It wasn't the correct way to do it because later on in life I had issues with violence. When I got into situations where I got mad, first thing I did was go to violence. And that come from the bullying situation, from people bullying me, and the only way I got rid of them was violence. And it's not the right way to do that.
In that voice of whole, how you use your voice is the identity of your spirit within you, how you speak to others. There are a lot of sad spirits out there who speak, with a lot of pain. And then there's some voices others talk who are controlling. They seem to somehow have all the answers about themselves and about you. Then there are others that are angry, spirits that are in anger inside of people. So how they present their voice, using la as a term of endearment, of compassion. Ohola, use your voice in kindness in a respectful way. This is what we would determine to mean respect. So the foundation of our Lakota society is based on respect. There are criteria, certain ways of promoting respect according to traditional ways. It is what helps people to be in harmony and at peace with each other. To have respect for yourself, your family, elders, community, school, staff, all life. To treat people the way that you want to be treated. Accept people for the way they are. When I was working at St. Francis, my shop foreman was always very critical. When I told him, I said, can we get someone else to drive the evening bus because we're having a sweat over at Joe's this evening. Yeah, I suppose. And each time it got a little harsher and more directed at me. And I said, Joe's asking me if I can go on this road trip with him, so I'll be gone a couple of days. Not to a point where he just said, why can't you just be a good Catholic and go to church? Why you have to do all these Indian things all the time? And that hurt. And it hurt him. So I didn't say anything. So when I went back and I was telling Joe, this is what they said to me. And he said, pray for him. Pray for him? I feel like just smacking him right between the eyes. He said, no, pray for him. Pray for him so that he will understand why you do the things you do. And so I did. As time went by, there was a complete turnaround. And they came over and they asked if they could do the cooking for us at our Sundance. And the family took over, and the parents went on to the spirit world, but the next generation has stepped forward, and the family's keeping that tradition at our Sundance circle. They've accepted that. And I've seen that change around happen with my Uncle Bernard Whitehead. He was a very strong Christian. And he didn't do these, but as time turned around, he was able to accept them and to allow us and help us. So prayers are powerful. When we hear elders talking about them, saying when you use your voice very carefully, because you can really build someone up in a good way, but you can also demean them and hurt them with words. We don't have cuss words in our language, but you can really demean someone with the way you should choose to use your words. And if you speak to just the E dialect, English, they have all of those words there to hurt feelings. So language in Lakota, that whole, and using that, respect or building people up, or you can tear them down.
I don't know if a person can ever stop bullying from happening, but I think you try to lessen the amount of bullying and work on being a family and getting along together. That's a key thing. I think cultural aspects of this school can help a lot with that.
Because you got written up and somewhere down the line you're here because somebody has written you up for a level offense, and you know it's time to pay the piper, basically, and I am that piper. So whether it's a level 1 or level 2, 3-day suspension, you're in here for 3 days or 72 hours until we have all the way up to behavior modification, which is 20 days. I do retain the right to keep a student in here, if I don't think they're performing properly, I should say, because if a student's been in here for 3 days and they have not produced one piece of work for me, and whereas the write-up states they're only being here 3 days, well, guess what? I could keep them in here 3, 4, 5, or 6 days until that work is done and complete. I have exercised that right once or twice, and they got it done pretty quick.
So would you say, basically, you're the one that deals with the students that have behavioral problems or learning or falling back on their learning?
I would say I have a big input in toward that, student behaving. I know, sometimes, like I always joke around, I feel like a rock star because when I walk in the morning, everyone's like, hi, Irv, hi, Irv, hi, Irv. Everyone knows Irv, and Irv's the ISS guy, and one time was at St. Francis, one of the stores up there, and like, there's Irv, he takes care of our ISS guy, and I had to explain to the parent, oh yeah, I'm the ISS guy. And they're like, oh, well, good, you see my son? Well, yeah, you be sure and call me, that kind of thing. It was a good exchange and interaction there, but I kind of had to explain, like I'm doing now, what I do, There's a lot of rumors out there, that get going, like, yeah, you gotta watch out because Irv's really miserable, and things like that. And it's kind of good to keep that suspense, but no one gets beat up in here, and no one gets, whipped or spanked, and and things like that, And there is one thing I would like to say though, is like You know, if you're in here, you're in trouble. And although I'm, you know, friends out there, you know, I'm friends with everybody, you know, I try to look at it that way, you know. I'm approachable. I kind of have an open door policy. And I've had kids come in here crying, you know, where they've had a bad day, you know, and I'd rather have them vent in here than venting out there to their teacher. And they've done that, and it's worked. It's worked wonderfully. You know, I've had a couple feedback from 3 or 4 teachers on that situation.
Have
You know.
any of your students been accused of bullying?
Oh yes, bullying. You know, not that much. We just got back from a retreat just last weekend, and we went over some of these stats. And you know, I take pretty good stats, and I'm able to pull up how many bulliers we have had. You know, between this day and that day, or that month or that month. We do have bullying incidents, you know, and thank goodness they're not up there in the, you know, class 1, 2, or 3 bullyings, whereas, you know, they're started. We have a 5-step program within the bullying system. Is, you know, one, you're accused of your first offense. Well, you're going to come in on day 1, and you're going to lose your full weeks of recess breaks. You're going to be eating your lunch in here on that first week. On week 1, you're going to do bullying reflections. On week 2, you're going to write a paragraph of why you did what you did and why you think what you did. And you're going to do, you know, a 5-step program that's going to kind of, you know, make you think and reflect on, you know. And at the end of it, I noticed that they kind of changed from the day 1 where they're kind of a little bit, you know, defiant, to where they're now saying, well, hey, I committed this offense against the school, and it does say that, and I'm realizing, you know, the school's right, you know, and I'm sorry. And in fact, today I had 2 kids come up and actually ask me permission, you know, to write to their teacher or to this person who they've upset, because they started feeling bad after reflecting, you know, and reading through some of the policies and procedures that we have set in place, and write that student or teacher a letter, which I did let them do, and they actually asked permission to go take that letter to them. And that was executed today.
Would you say bullying pretty much affects the generations? I mean, it's something we've always seen, it's always been there?
It's always been there, because it was there when I went to school, and I'm sure it was there when you went to school. You know, it's just, you know, bullying kind of changes with the times, because, you know, we didn't have cell phones when I was in 4th grade and 3rd grade, you know, and we didn't have, you know, IT, or we didn't have computers, whereas there is cyberbullying now. You know, we have cyberbullying, we have, you know, different ways of, you know, leaving messages, whether that be via cell phone, which also includes, you know, cyberbullying to, you know, I did have caught a few notes going back and forth here. That was the first part of the school year, you know, because they didn't want their cell phones lost, and confiscated. But it does happen, and cyberbullying is a big thing, you know, and we do have a procedure for that also set in place, you know. One of the teachers that we would like to look at is, you know, like Eve Land. She's got an outstanding cyberbullying program, you know, who, what, when, where, report, document. You're able to take screenshots of your, you know, of your, from right off your phone, you know, and we were able to find out a lot about a phone system, you know, and yes, it has changed, and fortunately not for the better, but we're able to track it a lot easier than it were when, you know, he said, she said, when me and you were coming up.
Oh, it makes me feel mad when I see it here at the school. Very upset and angry, and I just want to take those kids home myself.
How do you think we could stop the bullying?
Have more preventions.
Witness bullying taking place, or?
Well, if you see someone getting bullied, go up and take a stand. Help someone in need. There's always someone out there that's getting bullied. Don't stand there and watch them.
How many incidents have you seen this school year?
As far as I know, about 3.
Is that higher or lower than previous
I could say it was probably lower because the last few years I've saw more than 3.
So you're saying it's getting better, maybe?
Yeah.
So there's a lot of advertisements on our school walls and on the campus about anti-bullying these days. Are any of those your signs that you made up?
Yeah, they are.
Was that like a class project or something?
No, it's a club that we made to help stop bullying after we lost one of our friends.
Oh, and how many people are in this club?
About 7 or 8 of us.
It's the Obeas Bully Prevention Club or something?
Yes, it is.
And how many adults, counselors, teachers are in it?
There's 2 counselors and 1 adult.
How are things progressing?
Very well.
You guys talk about personal issues or?
No, well, we do sometimes, but we just talk about what went on and what we're trying to deal with and how we're trying to fix it.
Does that help the healing process?
It's getting there.
You think so? I think you're still healing from maybe bullying?
Yeah, I mean, sometimes it puts me down, but I always remember that there's always going to be someone there to help you and always be there for someone who's getting bullied because once in the future, they could be there to help you.
Ew, that girl is such a ratchet. Look at her ugly clothes. I also heard she sleeps around.
Are you sure about that? I know her well and I've never heard anyone say that about her before.
Spreading rumors and ruining reputation is not our way. Putting someone down for the way they look and making someone feel unwanted only weakens our people. Give someone you normally wouldn't a compliment or go out of your way to help someone out. That's Lakota.
Yeah, I was a bully back in grade school, and I was bullied myself. I just wanted to bully others to put them in the pressure that I was, make them feel the pain that I was in.
How do you think we could? How do you feel about being bullied?
Being bullied? Getting bullied is terrifying. Yeah.
Well, we need to, like I said, address it here and now. Instead of the write-ups, these principals, whoever takes care of these issues should get on the phone and tell them, please come and let's sit down, let's talk with your daughter, your son, or the person who you have legal custody of. We need to resolve this issue. If they don't, it keeps on snowballing, and until finally it breaks loose in threats and in open violence, and that's not exactly what the outcome should be.
If you are being bullied, talk to somebody. Say something. Tell the bully, I don't feel comfortable when you say that to me.
Just don't bully people, I mean, because you can hurt public's feelings.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Stay in school.
More people get really serious about the bullying situation. There's a lot of people here that really look the other way because they don't want to get involved, or they're scared of the people, or they're scared of family, or they're scared of something. Where the best thing to do is just sit down and talk to people and say, hey, you're making me feel terrible. You're making me angry. You're making me sad. You're hurting me, whatever. But that takes a lot of courage to do that.
selling Running-Horse.
How old are you?
Versus 4 years old.
5?
Yeah.
What school do you go to?
That's that.
How is it like there?
Kind of fun.
Kind of fun?
Yes.
Do people ever bully you there?
Yes.
Why?
Because sometimes I don't like it. Sometimes I tell teachers.
You tell your teachers? How does it make you feel?
Yeah, better.
No, how does bullying make you... Oh, wait. How does bullying make you feel?
Kind of a little bit mad.
Mad?
Yeah.
How come you... If you were given a choice to stop bullying, would you? If there was ways to stop bullying, would you help out with it?
Yeah.
Why would you want to stop bullying?
Because I just want to be nice, and so Santa.
Santa?
Yes.
What about Santa?
I want him to bring me presents.
Hi, how are you? My name is Irv Cody. I work for St. Francis Indian School, K through 6. I'm with Alternative Education. Initially, when I got hired, it was called in-school suspension, our behavior modification room. But now, as paperwork changes, so does job titles, and it's Alternative Education.
Okay, my name is Allison Seeger, and I work for Teach for America, so I coach teachers. But before that, I was a teacher in Todd County School District.
My name is Donette Leader-Charge. I'm a sophomore and I go to St. Francis Indian School.
My name is Charlie Littlerock. I'm in 9th grade and I go to school at St. Francis Indian School.
Marion RunningHorse.
What do you do?
I'm a high school teacher.
Hi, my name is James Murray and I work at St. Francis Indian School.
Hello, I'm Steve Hermanhorst. I'm the Algebra 1 teacher at St. Francis Indian School.
Ryan Holigo, and he's a high school art teacher.
My name is Eustace Nightshield.
What do you work as?
I am the high school principal.
For how many years?
This will be my first year as a high school principal. I've worked as a elementary principal for roughly 12 years for Todd County School District.
My name is Jimmy Bordeaux. I am the 712 library aide.
My name is Wade Walkenigo. I'm the BMR coordinator at St. Francis Indian School for 7 to 12.
Pam Left-Handle. What do you work as? I'm a high school para-pro for the SPED program.
I'm Mrs. Parrott. I'm a science teacher here at St. Francis Indian School.
Brian C. 712, Dean of Students here at St. Francis Indian School.
This is Robert Claremont. He's an 8th grader at SFIS.
It's Jasmine. I'm an 8th grader and I go to St. Francis Indian School. Can you introduce yourself?
My name is Josiah Arcorn. I'm in 8th grade and I go to St. Francis Indian School.
Oh, now? Oh, my name is Anthony Zadi and I am a security guard / student here at the high school.
My name is Esset Swadatil and I'm in 7th grade and I go to school at St. Francis Indian School and that's it.
My name is Rhonda Cherry and I teach 7th and 8th grade middle school here at St. Francis Indian School. This is my 3rd year here.
I'm in 8th grade. My name is Sonny Iron.
attend St. Francis Indian School.
My name is Kashina One Star, and I go to school at St. Francis Indian.